From false flag operations that could have led to a nuclear exchange to churches infiltrating the government to remove information, these once theories became the truth that shocked the world. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this video about the 5 craziest conspiracies that people didn't think were possible until they were revealed. 5. Operation Northwoods. A real-life conspiracy that could send shivers down your spine was born during the height of the Cold War. In an era rife with political tension and distrust, the United States wanted to undermine its perceived enemy, Cuba. If the operation went ahead, it could have ultimately led to a nuclear exchange between the Soviet Union and United States. But what if I told you that the US government considered manipulating public opinion through staged acts of terror? Buckle up, because we're about to unveil a chilling chapter in history. These declassified documents, now accessible to the public, peel back the layers of secrecy surrounding Operation Northwoods, revealing a conspiracy that could have altered the course of history. Operation Northwoods involved audacious plans to orchestrate false flag attacks on American soil, intending to deceive the public and create a pretext for military intervention in Cuba. Can you believe it? The very government sworn to protect its citizens contemplated sacrificing innocent lives to achieve their geopolitical objectives. But this was not a work of fiction. It was a real conspiracy, reaching the highest levels of power and influence. Fortunately, Operation Northwoods never came to fruition, thanks to a few courageous individuals who recognized the moral and ethical implications. It was President John F. Kennedy and his advisors who ultimately rejected the plan, preserving the integrity of the nation and preventing a path marred by deception and false pretenses. Operation Northwoods serves as a stark reminder that we must remain vigilant, questioning the actions of those in power and safeguarding our rights and freedoms. 4. Operation Fast and Furious. Operation Fast and Furious was a controversial covert operation conducted by the United States Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, from 2006 to 2011. The operation was designed to track and dismantle Mexican drug cartels by allowing the illegal purchase of firearms and then tracing their movements. Under the operation, ATF agents knowingly permitted firearms to be sold to suspected straw purchasers, who were individuals purchasing weapons on behalf of others who were prohibited from buying firearms themselves. The primary objective was to follow the guns and identify high-level cartel members and weapons trafficking networks. The operation mainly focused on the trafficking of firearms from the United States to Mexico. However, Operation Fast and Furious quickly became controversial and faced severe criticism. Many firearms were lost or unaccounted for, and some of them were later found at crime scenes, including the murder of a U.S. Border Patrol agent, Brian Terry, in December 2010. The discovery of these walked or lost firearms raised significant concerns and led to public outrage. The operation was exposed in early 2011 when whistleblowers within the ATF came forward and revealed the questionable tactics and failures associated with the operation. Investigations were launched, and the controversy surrounding Operation Fast and Furious intensified. It led to congressional hearings, public scrutiny, and calls for accountability. The aftermath of Operation Fast and Furious resulted in the resignation and reassignment of several ATF officials. The Department of Justice's Inspector General conducted an investigation that criticized the operation's execution, inadequate oversight, and failure to properly balance law enforcement objectives with public safety concerns. Operation Fast and Furious serves as a notable case study in the complexities and potential risks of covert law enforcement operations. While its original intent was to combat organized crime and arms trafficking, the operation ultimately raised questions about accountability, responsible tactics, and the balance between law enforcement efforts and potential unintended consequences. 3. Operation Ajax, also known as the 1953 Iranian coup, was a covert operation orchestrated by the United States and the United Kingdom to overthrow the democratically elected Iranian Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh. The operation aimed to protect Western interests in Iran, particularly concerns over the nationalization of the Iranian oil industry. Under Operation Ajax, the CIA and MI6 supported opposition groups and orchestrated protests and strikes to destabilize Mossadegh's government. They also carried out a misinformation campaign to portray Mossadegh as a threat to Iran's stability and Western interests. The operation involved bribing influential figures, building opposition coalitions, and manipulating public sentiment. The coup resulted in the removal of Mossadegh from power and the reinstatement of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who was seen as more favorable to Western interests. The Shah's regime, which lasted until the Iranian Revolution in 1979, was marked by authoritarian rule and close ties to the United States. The existence of Operation Ajax was confirmed through declassified documents and testimonies from officials involved in the operation. The revelations surrounding the coup sparked anger and anti-American sentiment among Iranians, contributing to long-standing tensions between Iran and the United States. Operation Ajax continues to be a subject of controversy and debate, raising questions about the ethics of covert interventions in foreign governments and their long-term consequences. The operation's role in shaping Iran's political landscape and its impact on the trajectory of Iranian history make it a significant and contentious chapter in the relationship between Iran and Western powers. 2. Operation Snow White. Operation Snow White was a clandestine operation conducted by the Church of Scientology in the 1970s, with the objective of removing unfavorable information about the organization from various government agencies. It involved infiltrating government offices, particularly those related to the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, and the Department of Justice. Under Operation Snow White, Scientology members, including high-ranking officials, engaged in illegal activities such as theft, wiretapping, and document forgery. The operation aimed to locate and remove any records or files that could potentially harm the church or its founder, L. Ron Hubbard. The church's ultimate goal was to undermine perceived opposition and maintain a positive public image. The operation was exposed in 1977 when the FBI executed raids on Church of Scientology offices in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. Numerous documents related to Operation Snow White were seized during these raids, providing evidence of the church's illegal activities. As a result of the operation's exposure, several high-ranking officials within the Church of Scientology, including Hubbard's wife, Mary Sue Hubbard, were convicted and sentenced to prison. The operation's wide-ranging scope and the extent of the church's involvement in illegal activities shocked the public and raised concerns about the organization's practices. Operation Snow White remains one of the most significant legal and public relations challenges faced by the Church of Scientology. The operation's revelations exposed the lengths to which the church was willing to go to protect its interests and maintain its reputation. It also triggered increased scrutiny of the organization and led to reforms within government agencies to prevent similar infiltrations in the future. 1. Project Sunshine. Project Sunshine was a covert operation conducted by the United States government in the 1950s and 1960s. Its objective was to study the effects of nuclear fallout on human tissues and the environment. The project involved the collection and analysis of biological samples, including human tissues, from deceased individuals, including infants, without the knowledge or consent of their families. Under Project Sunshine, the government sought to determine the spread and impact of radioactive materials resulting from nuclear weapons testing. To achieve this, samples were collected from various sources, such as hospitals, morgues, and even foreign countries, and sent to specialized laboratories for analysis. The existence of Project Sunshine remained hidden from the public for decades, and its activities were only revealed through the release of declassified documents and investigations. The revelation of the project's secretive nature and the non-consensual collection of samples sparked ethical and legal concerns, particularly regarding informed consent and the privacy rights of individuals. Critics argue that Project Sunshine violated the rights of the deceased and their families, as well as ethical standards governing medical research. The lack of transparency surrounding the project further fueled suspicions and conspiracy theories about the government's intentions and the potential long-term effects of nuclear testing on human health. While the project's scope and extent of its findings remain a subject of ongoing debate, Project Sunshine stands as a poignant example of the ethical dilemmas and controversies associated with covert government operations and the potential risks posed by nuclear activities. This is it for the video, guys. If you're listening to this, I want you to know I really appreciate you and hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment about what you think and send the video to friends that find this type of content. Subscribe, and until next time.